You can hustle your assets to about a $5 million business, whether you're a service company, your product business, software, you can. You hustle your ass off and you can grow your business, but you can't scale it. The attribute of hustle, of working your tail off, will always be a good one. Butler, New Jersey, where my office is. You can hustle your tail off, and that's always going to be a good attribute that'll always serve you well in your business. But the reality is you can't scale hustle. You can't scale your hustle. What you can scale, though, are systems. And that's where we have to turn your hustle into habit, right? Now, I've talked many times about when you start growing a business, it's important for that business to be effective. You're not going to be efficient in the beginning, you're going to be effective. And that's where hustle really pays off. Because by working really hard and getting a result, you learn proof of concept. You learn that you can get an idea across the finish line. You learn that you could put effort, energy, resources into something and then have it turn into a product or a service offering. You can get all the way to the end. You can have your client pay you. You can put that money in the bank, and you have gone from lead all the way to completion. In other words, throughput. You have proven out your throughput, but you haven't replicated it. Now, the key is, I get this question all the time. What business is a good business? Can I make money in this business? Well, there's a market for any company. There's a market for any product. That's not the question. There's 7 billion people on the planet. And we have the internet. Everybody has a product or service. Everybody wants your product or service. The key is, can you get it to them on a sustainable way, profitably over the long haul? And that's where your hustle needs to turn into habit. You need to have the systems that can, on a predictable and consistent basis, can deliver a similar, if not better, client and product and service experience. You've heard it many times that franchises are incredibly successful businesses because they are consistent. You know what to expect. They provide you certainty. And that's what these habits have to turn into. Consistency in your activities, consistency in your team's activities, and consistency in the client experience. And if you provide those, you can start to scale your business. Think about the restaurants you like to go to on a regular basis. Think about where you get your coffee. Think about where you get your favorite beverage, or you get your favorite snack, or you fuel up your car with gas. Why do you go to these places? Because you know what to expect, right? So when the experience is consistent on a regular basis, you almost stop thinking about the business, and you think about the product, the service, or the experience you get when you go there. So yeah, I go to the same Chinese restaurant because that's where I get my broccoli and tofu and garlic sauce, right? That's where I get my fill up of fuel. That's where I get my cup of coffee, because they make it my way. And they make it my way on a consistent and regular basis. So that's what you're drawn to. And so in order to get there in your business, we need to have a certain rhythm. I know, I started to say systems and you're like, Carl, yeah, no way. I don't want to be a robot. I'm not trying to turn you into a robot, but we need certain rhythms. You need to integrate systems into your business daily and weekly life. So we need systems, we need rhythm, we need a certain cadence. Right? So we need a meeting cadence. We need to meet at a certain time with our team. And that agenda needs to be set each and every time, so everybody knows what we're working on. Right? You're not going to get healthy and defined by going to the gym once. You get healthy and defined by going to the gym on a regular basis and doing a consistent workout, right? Similar routines, similar cadences. So as you build in those systems into your business, and you have regular meeting cadence, and you have KPIs and metrics that you're tracking, what starts to happen? You're going to start to learn that all of that hustle that you were doing before, where your business was very effective, You're going to learn that you burned a lot of extra and excess energy. You're also going to learn that you're spending time on things that do not contribute to the growth of your business right now. They're the right things to do, but they're not necessarily in the right sequence. And so you're going to start to build a more efficient team. You're going to start to build a more efficient company where you're going to be able to get to the finish line with less effort or less steps or both. So you can still hustle, but now you'll get more ROI out of your hustle when you build in the weekly habits.